So Esther, apologies if I call you Abdul. So guys, this session we're talking about network portfolios. Yes, network portfolios. I was lumped into this late, as you are all aware. I was only told about this session about 2 hours ago. So I have some of the questions that we were prepared prior to me kind of getting involved in this. But I think as a starting point, if you can just kind of give a brief introduction, who you are, what your organizations do, and then we'll get into the questions thereafter. All right?
Thanks, Brad. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ajay Jethwani. I represent ABS Global as a Vice President Sales for Africa. ABS Global is a leading global satellite operator with a fleet of 5 satellites covering 93% of the globe, operating on all bands, KU, C, and K band. We are present all over all across the continents, headquartered in UAE now. We shifted our headquarters from US to UAE recently. So our go-to-market is basically we work with tier 1 operators, whether it's MNOs or government institutions and ISPs, teleport operators. And that's how we partner with them to go to the end user market. For Africa, we have been actively working for the last 15 years. Today we have 3 satellites for covering Africa, all on KU, K, and C band, carrying almost 7 to 8 gigahertz of capacities. We see a tremendous growth in African markets, so we are well equipped to cater to this demand. We have seen African market evolving in the last 15 years, and being a nimble and agile smaller organization, we have adopted quite flexible strategies to evolve with the African market, right from selling raw capacities to managed services. We have been trying to deliver the African markets with all our services. So with this, I conclude my introduction. Thanks.
Hi again, my name is Kadambara. I'm the head of Wholesale from tiGO. Happy to be here again. So tiGO is a very strong number 2 telecom provider. We can provide end-to-end telecommunication services. We have 16.5 million customers, and with the changing trends in the world, especially with the digital transformation that we're seeing across the world, we are adapting and changing with our people and our customers. We're impacting a lot of money. We've spoken about this before, about $500 million to make sure we're actually ready, and we are advancing our network and modernizing our network to gear it up to these changes. One of our strongest, I think, value proposition or the product that we have is tiGO Pesa. And just to give you a scale of how big tiGO Pesa is, we have a lot of transactions. But we do about 1.9 million merchant only, 1.9 billion merchant transaction daily. So you can imagine how massive, and this is daily, how massive on revenue, how massive tiGO Pesa is. Over and above that, we connect customers. We really push to connect customers, obviously locally and globally. Through our owner, Axian, we are present in 7 countries in Africa, but we also can connect over 50 countries within Africa through partners and ourselves, and have access to all cloud services that you can think of, AWS, etc. And the only tier 3 designed and certified data center in Tanzania and East and Central Africa, with the exception of Kenya.
Good afternoon all. My name is James Wekesa. I'm the Group Chief Commercial Officer of the WIOCC Group. WIOCC Group runs submarine cable systems. Our first investment was the Easy Cable System about 15 years ago. And over the years, we have multiple investments in multiple cables across Africa, WIOCC, SAT3, SAFE, easy. We have investments indirectly in teams, and we are strategically involved in bringing in the To Africa and the Equiano cables into Africa. So basically, we have a bouquet of over maybe 30,000 terabytes that we manage for our various service providers, the MNOs, enterprise organizations, and various other service providers in the local market. We play in the wholesale space, so we don't integrate or have one-to-one interactions with the consumer, but we supply your suppliers. That's the space that we play. We also have a data center company called OADC. We have deployed multiple data centers in South Africa. We have deployed in Nigeria, and we're in the process of deploying in another 6 or 7 countries across Africa. So we are basically in the space of providing a turnkey telecom type solution for everyone.
Thank you. My name is Esther Kamunali. I'm an engineer by profession, and I'm here in place of Abdul Mombokaleo, the manager for NICTBB TCL. A lot has been said about the NICTBB from yesterday. I'm sure you all know it's the digital highway, high-speed infrastructure owned by the government and managed by the TCL. It's the carrier of carriers, and our customers, as we know, are the MNOs, ISPs, and some other corporate customers. Yeah, that's all.
Great stuff. Thanks, Esther. So Esther, seems that you've got the mic. We'll start with you and head back. It just seems easier than trying to get more mics to work. So the previous panel we were talking about, Annika was specifically mentioning the demand side of what's required of the networks and building that demand. But we also need to talk about the supply side. How are we going to meet the increase in demand on the networks that we operate and run? And I suppose slightly different response from yourself, Esther, but kind of how do we see this demand being met, and what technologies do you think are going to be the ones that will drive that supply side in your organization moving forward? And the same question is obviously going to run for all of you, and I know you're probably going to target the technologies that you supply, but then also think about what are the complementary technologies that go with the products that you're providing.
Yeah, thank you. In the perspective of the NICTBB, we use fiber optics as the main technology. It's the transport layer. So that is the backbone where currently we started with connecting the major cities, and then went down to the districts with the aim of connecting all the districts of Tanzania by 2025, or the penetration by 85%. So, as I first said, the main technology that we use is fiber optics, but this is also complemented with microwave in areas where we are not able to deploy the fiber. And we also use, of course, there is also a mobile network that complements the fiber that is running. The fiber optics is the best to use because of the high speed and the reduced latency, and it has a broader network coverage. Yeah. So mainly I will speak about the fiber optics. Yeah.
What do we do? Because that's basically about what we do. We are a submarine cable company, owning capacity and bringing capacity from the internet into Africa. Multiple terabytes, 60 to 70 terabytes available two cable systems which will be retiring in the next 3 to 5 years. That's the EASY and the CCOM system. But two new cables coming into Africa which have 10 times the capacity of the two retiring cables. So in terms of capacity into Africa on submarine fiber, it's trillions of terabytes. Now, for us, where we sit, we can give you the pipe of your size. It's really about the provider to the MNOs. It's about the provider to the consumer. That's, for us, where the challenge is. Because our pipe is massive. It's a lot of capacity. The challenge is on that side. So for me, I would like us to talk about how we can make sure that the trillions of terabytes that are available can be consumed in Africa. That's where the challenge is.
And I suppose that's where Kadambara comes in as an MNO, is what are you guys doing to drive that demand into those rural areas or into those areas that currently aren't consuming as much as they should?
Absolutely. So I know I'll go back to rural, but we actually are empowered. So we work with partners like WIOCC. We have an international cable, submarine cable, EASY, that we're getting through the partnership with WIOCC. And so how we are ensuring that this is utilized is we are running locally, we are running a lot of initiatives to make sure that we can communicate and educate the people over the advantages of connectivity and being connected. Because when you have a country like Tanzania, and I'm going to stick to Tanzania, but when you have a country like Tanzania, the reason why only 35% are connected, for example, through broadband, it's partly because people don't understand the value and people aren't educated. So we're pushing a lot on education to ensure that people actually understand the value, so then we can translate that into conversion, into sales. But for corporates, that's much easier because we just talk to our customers and we do this either separately or through our partners. So that's an easier conversation. But over and above that, we drive partnerships that can actually drive utilization of these services. A very good example of such apps, let's say, is Uber. So tiGO Pesa is the only partner on Uber where you can actually pay through Uber. Any user can pay through Uber. So when you drive such partnership, when you partner with someone like Uber, Uber has over 130 million users, 30 billion transactions daily. It does a lot in terms of driving usage and day-to-day usage, because what you want is for people to use it day-to-day so that they can do without. So such partnerships enable us to do that, and we do that obviously through tiGO Pesa. But let's think of someone like Azam. Azam is very dear to us here locally. And then let's think of what technology does to Azam's supply chain, for example. We partner with Azam, again, for payment. But then Azam sells to a wholesaler. That wholesaler sells to us, to a small shop, these kiosks that are running around, right? That kiosk then sells water to a mamantilie, a very small vendor, for those who don't know. A mamantilie who feeds the people on a day-to-day, and then those people consume it. This entire supply chain uses our connectivity on broadband. That's driven some of it on through the app on broadband tiGO Pesa. And that supply chain, over and above just driving obviously usage and the data penetration that we're trying and to get this capacity consumed, it actually helps us empower people, from very big vendors to very small vendors who are, very helpless most of the time, and create very seamless transactions on a day-to-day, real-time basis. And so if we push such partnerships and such utilization, this is when we can really drive almost organic growth of this capacity usage without spending so much effort, and further drive the agenda that we're trying to reach at.
Great stuff. Thanks, Kadambara. Ajay, can I come to you? Obviously, your view is going to be slightly different, so I'm looking forward to hearing your kind of take on it.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. As you said, yes, the demand has increased post-COVID in all areas of telecommunication, and in satellite also we have seen the same demand really going high. There were some unexpected segments which were really not doing well during COVID, like maritime industry has suddenly sprung up, and we see a lot of demand coming out on maritime. So we have been selling our capacities to these kind of segments. Apart from maritime, obviously MNOs are a big segment consuming satellite bandwidths for backhauling and 3G, 4G, as well as for 2G backhauling. That's where we see a lot of growth for satellite as well. So we work in partnership with system integrators and the hub vendors, wherein we give a win-win proposal to these MNOs who don't want to manage the network, so they want to outsource it, and that's how where we work with partners like ISAT and hub vendors like WIOCC, Gilat, and various. So when we give them a bundled solutions to these MNOs where they don't have to invest on the networks, and we give them a joint proposal wherein it's a complete OPEX-based model. We also ensure the old technologies which are redundant, we upgrade them to the newest technologies which are capable of high modulation. So as you said that there's a shortage of bandwidth expected in coming times with the increase of the applications. So what we do is on the ground level, there has been a advancement in the technologies where you can run on high modulation, and with the limited megahertz, you can generate more megabits. So that's what we are trying to see, upgrade the networks and generate more bandwidth out of the existing megahertz. That's what we have been doing. Yeah, I think these are some of the segments which we are trying to cater. Yeah.
Great stuff. Thanks, Ajay. So guys, we've got about 9 minutes left of this panel now. So I'd like to open up and see if there are any questions from the audience. I have a couple more questions I can go through if I need to, but I thought I'd give the opportunity to the audience to ask anything that's burning out of their minds. I see there's a question at the back. And sorry, if I can just also say before we get, if you can just keep the questions quite short so we can get to the answers, that would be ideal. Thank you very much. And please introduce yourself.
Said from Green Telecom. My question goes to Kadambara. So what is
Somehow I knew that.
I always give you the best questions. Anyway, so what is the MNO's openness to open their networks to other service providers in terms of leveraging coverage nationwide? The fact that you're investing on 5G, 4G networks, so to have a vision of, let's say, like me, as an ISP who wants to be probably an MVNO to ride through your network, for example.
So Said, you said easy question. I can see you're trying to get me fired. But no, actually it is all taken in quite positively. So we are very open. James's concern is how do we push more consumption? One of the best and easiest way we actually push this consumption is through partnerships with providers such as yourself. And we are very lenient and very open to MVNO agreements where we empower people who maybe have more capacity and a lot more bandwidth in terms of resources and people to get to the customers that we can't get to. So we both win. We currently, I'm not sure if we can say this, but we currently have a very big organization that is roaming on our voice, roaming for on voice. So they're roaming on our network for voice services. We already have customers like this. We are unable to mention them, but we already have them. So should you be interested, please do reach out. We are very keen to have such partnerships so that we continue driving consumption and limiting the digital divide.
Great stuff. Thanks, Kadambara. Any other questions?
No, we need to wrap up.
Oh, do we need to wrap up? Okay. All right.
Give us summary
Apologies,
remarks.
guys. I thought we had more time. But thank you very much. And if you have any further questions to the panelists or myself, please connect with us in one of the breaks. Thanks very much.
Bradley, you know some of the key takeaways? 2 takeaways from the panel?
From me? Oh. I hadn't prepared anything for this. But yeah, thanks for the question, Maita, and putting me on the spot now as well. So I take a slightly contrarian view to this, and as I said earlier, I believe that we as an industry haven't done enough. We need to connect more people and we need to do it faster. We have one of the solutions that I think helps in rural in terms of providing direct connectivity from the satellite to the ground, using spectrum as the access technology. That is one of the solutions that I think will have an impact moving forward. There are currently 4 or 5 players in the marketplace trying to get this right. We're one of them, so we're not the only player out there, we're not the only company doing it. Then in terms of the other solutions, as I said in the previous question to panel to Annika, there's no such thing as a community that is unservable. It is the financial model and the technology and as Annika said, the political will to get there, that is the problem. If we can get that right, we can connect everybody and we can connect them sustainably. But it's how do we get there, and I suppose that's why we have these conversations. That's why we do the work that we do. It's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do on the African continent. Everybody deserves to have that connection at home. So I hope that next year we'll start to see progress, and hopefully in 14 years' time, if any of us are still here, God, I really hope we're not. Sorry. Hopefully we'll have done more than 11% of the population. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Bradley. I think we will be here in 14 years, and we'd love to see what you say in 14 years. A big